Good morning, everyone. This is Alex. I'm the COO and co-founder here at Swolverine. Today, we have episode 3 of the Swole Friends Podcast, and I'm joined here by Swolverine athlete and elite CrossFitter, Leo Franco. Leo, good morning to you. Let's go. We're doing this. Are we doing this? Oh, good show. Good morning. How's it going?
It's going good. Good.
You just got back from Spain, didn't you?
Yes, got back from competing in Madrid. I had a blast. It's always fun going out there, and getting used to the time. Like the time change is difficult at first, but my plane got there in the morning, so I was able to sleep on the plane right there. And then when I got there, I was already like kind of accustomed to the time change. So it was good. I had a blast, and hoping to go back next year.
Nice, absolutely. Had you been there before?
Yeah, I went there last year. Last year, it was different because it was my first time going overseas. It was my first time competing in like that kind of environment where like the judges speak a different language than you. But I mean, I speak Spanish, but still like it's kind of it's different. And last year was kind of like not my rookie year, but like it was different than this year because this year I kind of went back like knowing what to expect. So I had more fun this year than last year.
Nice. Maybe some of the nerves were calmed down a little bit.
Oh yeah, big time. Last year I was so nervous for every event, like just like that pit in my stomach would like not go away. I remember last year before the final event, just being in the corral and like hearing the noise from the stadium and be like, man, I don't want to go out there. Like I'm so nervous. This year. It was like, man, I want to go out there. Like I want to be in front of everyone. So it was fun.
Absolutely. And a little bit on your accolades. Tell me a little bit more there.
So I'm a 2-time CrossFit semifinal athlete. I'm the 2-time fittest man in Nevada, competed in multiple international CrossFit competitions, and inspiring games athlete.
There we go. Oh, yeah. I mean, I really think this coming year is going to be a big one for you. You went from competing at the West Coast Classic last year, being kind of moving up, 20 spots to end up in the top 10. You finished 9th at Granite Games this year, which was phenomenal. We're super happy with that performance. It was awesome to watch you compete. And like you're kind of saying, seeing that confidence change a little bit from like your rookie season into this year, where it's like, all right, cool. My nerves are on the side and now I'm hungry, right? Like I'm out for blood. I feel it. It's here. Do you kind of feel like that's something that you've adopted as well? I mean, as far as mentality?
Yeah, big time. Like my first semifinal last year at West Coast, it was my rookie year as my first time competing against like games athletes at that caliber. So I just felt like, man, do I belong here? I was like, am I supposed to be here? Like, I don't know if I can hang with these guys. Versus this year, it was like, forget all that. I'm meant to be here, and I can compete against these guys.
Absolutely. Have you ever talked to Sean Sweeney a little bit about beating him out for the Fittest in Nevada at all?
So actually, there was like a little bit of trash talk in 2020/2021. We were doing the Fittest Experience qualifier, and I ended up beating him in like some of the workouts, and I ended up beating him in the qualifier. And he was kind of like just talking a little bit trash to me because he didn't know who I was. Obviously, I know who he was, so I was just saying like, "Oh, there's a new sheriff in town," because it's Nevada. So I was kind of just talking smack to him, just kind of being like that little kid, just kind of like poking at him since he didn't know who I was, but I know who he was. So there was
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it's all good because I met him at the NorCal competition last year that I won, and he's a super good guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, he is a good guy. I think he's like definitely one of the staple characters and athletes in the sport, and super active on social media, encouraging people and lifting people up, and then, calling people on their shit if they need to be called on their shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. We need more of that.
Right. Absolutely. And so how old are you?
24.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And when did you start CrossFit? Like, tell us a little bit more about where that originated.
I started just after high school. And I remember this because I was playing soccer all throughout my childhood, all through middle school, all through high school. And I thought it was what I wanted to do with my life, just to play soccer and kind of go that route. And I did try out for the college team. I did like not officially make the team, but I did kind of like make the cut into the team. And then some things just fell through, and I wasn't able to play. And I ended up dropping out of college. And I was kind of just like left doing nothing, like not really working out, not really playing soccer anymore. And my brother was actually doing CrossFit for a year already at that point. And he just kept bugging me to come to CrossFit with him. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I thought it was like the lamest thing ever. I was like, I'll never do CrossFit. I was like, that's so lame to me. And long story short, he convinced me to go. And it was during the Open of 2016. And my first CrossFit workout was thrusters and burpees, the 21, 18, 15, 12. And it took me like 25 minutes, and I died. And I came back the next day.
You did? You did come back the next day.
I was in love with it from there. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
You feel like it kind of fueled that competitive aspect that you weren't able to have anymore with not playing soccer or not pursuing that further?
Oh, yes, big time. Because a big part of it also was my brother and myself would play soccer together. So we would always compete against each other and like just make bets like, oh, if I beat you, you got to go buy me this. If I beat you, you got to do this for me. So kind of transitioning from soccer, we did that into CrossFit now. So now I had someone to kind of compete against, which was my brother, which was amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Keeping it in the family, so to speak.
Yeah.
Do you guys still work out together now?
Oh, yeah. We work out almost every single day together.
Is he sad that you're better than him?
No, he's not sad, but every now and then he's like, I'll beat you in this workout. I'm like, bro, you're not going to touch me, bro. Like, let's go.
I don't even know.
Like, it's always fun. I'm like, yo, do this workout like at 135. I'll do it at 225 and see if he can beat me, But at first he was definitely fitter than me. He was stronger than me. So it was kind of like, all right, I want to catch him. Like I want to beat him. And when I first beat him, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. Did you guys ever get into like some pretty gnarly bets?
I think not really like gnarly bets, but he would kind of make me be like his assistant. So he would be like, if I beat you in this game, I get 3 orders from you. So like I order you to go get me a water, something like that. So I was kind of like his assistant for the day. And what I would bet is he used to have like an Xbox. So I would be like, yo, if I beat you, I get to play your Xbox all day, So that was like our bets.
That's awesome. How much older is he than you?
He's 6.5 years older.
Nice. That's awesome. That's very cool. Tell me a little bit about training. Did you grow up in Vegas?
I lived here my whole life.
Okay, cool. And so, okay, so you've been there. And then so you got started in 2016. You're still competing, obviously. How did you kind of meet Elijah, your crew, who you train with now, your coach, things like that?
Yeah, so this is super cool because this is what I love about CrossFit is that you can go into a CrossFit gym and you can see like a pro athlete in the gym, like there's no other sport where you walk onto a basketball court and you see like LeBron James training, so
right.
It was actually at my first CrossFit gym that Elijah was there. He had just moved to Vegas and he was at that CrossFit gym training and coaching. And I met him there and he was a coach for my first CrossFit class. So after that, that gym ended up closing down and he went to a other gym and I just followed him to that gym. And that was pretty much all of the 2017 season, which he qualified for the games. So 2017, I followed him to the new gym. I did all his prep with him for regionals. So he was kind of like prepping for regionals and the open and stuff like that. So he was kind of like, it was kind of like a group of us of like 18 to 22-year-olds. It was a big group. It was like 10 people. And he was like, yo, if you guys want to hop in my training, this is what I'm going to do. This is the time I'm going to be here. If you guys want to hop in, you're more than welcome to. And man, it was like 20 of us every single day just getting after it. Obviously, he would crush us in the workouts, but it was a really fun time. And I think even to this day, like that was some of the best training moments I've had in my life. Just because like, you have a games athlete with you. You have people there that are stronger than you, fitter than you. And just being in that environment kind of like rocketed me to the next level. Like I went there being like one of the weakest kids in the group, and I left there being like middle of the pack, getting to the like one of the strongest in the group.
Yeah. And that's a pretty important piece of it, right? Is the community aspect and really finding like the community that works best for you. I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in this mentality of like, oh, well, I have to go to this gym because I, have a connection to this person or whatever. But there's so many unique qualities about each of the communities in the gym. And that's what's fun. And if you don't fit, or if you don't feel like it fits you or your goals, then just go find another one. Right. And that's kind of something that has come up, it's like, well, why doesn't Leo train at Underdogs? Why doesn't Leo like train with so-and-so or this person? And like having kind of those options at your convenience, being in a bigger city like Las Vegas, what do you feel like has made your situation unique? Why have you chosen to pursue it that way? Is it kind of that connection with that mentorship that you received in your initial days of CrossFit? Or is it kind of just walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things I noticed, and one of the things Elijah was talking about also, was just like, man, some people are just like not dependable, and when it comes to training, that's something that you can't rely on anyone else for. So one of the things like with training partners is like, it's super hard to get in the gym at the same time, get in the gym, and do the same program and just have everything aligned. And I think for me and my schedule, it's just super hard to kind of go like to other gyms and stuff, which is why I mainly train by myself, not fully, because I do have some other people on my program that are in Europe. And because they are ahead in time, by the time I'm getting to the gym, they're already done with the program and they send me all their scores. So I'm kind of able to like chase a ghost in a way. So yeah. I say I train by myself, but really I train with like ghosts in the gym, because like I'm imagining my training partners next to me who are on the same program as me. But as far as like Underdogs and stuff, I definitely do want to go there more often during this season, just because that gym does have a lot of equipment that my gym does not have, like the handstand ramp, the yoke, the pegboard, even like a super high rope. So definitely going to start going over there more during this 2023 season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice. I think you have some unique qualities and values as an athlete. You have this ability to really push yourself in that individual situation, and I myself am kind of in a similar situation. I follow Coda's programming. I like to hop on the leaderboard. It's 3 hours ahead of me, 2 hours ahead of me. And I have one training partner, right? And it's like, we're there pushing each other and it's awesome, but you have to have like something to motivate you. Those scores where you're just like in the middle of that grueling workout and you're just digging deep and you're like, I'm going to kick anyone's ass on the leaderboard, because there's no one around me. And that's kind of a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to go into a cold gym. They're not willing to go into a gym when it's 117 degrees outside. For anyone who doesn't know, I don't know how you guys live in Vegas. It's possible, but I mean, talk to me about training in the heat. I mean, most people would sit there and say like, what the hell, man? But
I'm kind of lucky because my gym has AC. So I put that to like, 70 something.
Okay. The secret.
Yeah, it's definitely hot. And whenever I do my running sessions, I definitely try to go at night, because during the day it's too much sometimes. I remember one time I had to do a track session and I went during the hottest day in Vegas. It was like 117, and I brought a gallon of water with me and I drank all of it, not even halfway through my running. I was like, this is going to be terrible. I had to stop.
Yeah, that's nutty. You're like, I'm a lizard now. This is my new occupation.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to be a failure,
This doesn't work. Talk to me a little bit about like your nutrition as an elite athlete, your hydration as an elite athlete. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It's just nonstop, always nonstop eating, nonstop drinking. I feel like I'm drinking water like every 2 seconds. Same thing with eating. It's definitely something that I had to teach myself to do, because I grew up being super skinny, and it's definitely something that doesn't come natural to me. Eating a lot. So it's been just a challenge finding the foods that I like, finding the foods that I can eat fast, because you don't want to sit there with a bowl rice and chicken and takes you like an hour to eat. So you want something that you can just down super fast and something that's going to keep you going for the day. So I try to just stick with like the basics and then kind of fill in the gaps as I need. So for breakfast, I'll do 4 to 5 eggs, and I'll do 2 pieces of either toast, or I'll do a bagel. And then that'll kind of hold me over till training. After training, I'll do a carb shake, like 100 grams of carbs. And then I'll do maybe like 1 or 2 peanut butter jelly sandwiches. And then I'll usually have to go.
That's the dream for some people, to be able to eat 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, it's definitely good though, because like I'll have like Snickers throughout the day. I'll have just stuff to fill in those gaps. For lunch, it's mainly just like ground beef and rice, and then some potatoes and ground turkey. So I'll kind of have like 2 lunches. And then for dinner, I'll have kind of like this oatmeal dessert kind of thing, where I'll put like some protein from you guys, all the chocolate protein, and then some bananas and some oatmeal and some honey, and just kind of like eat that for my last meal.
Yeah, I like that. And it's kind of, you got to dirty bulk at times, right? Like as far as food goes, let's be very clear on that.
Sure. When it comes to CrossFit and diet, I think nothing's off the table. You know, you got to just do what you got to do. For the most part, I try to eat clean. That way, if I ever do have like a craving of some ice cream or just something that I want to indulge in, I know like, okay, I ate clean for the most part today. I can have this.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think too, like, oh, he can eat whatever he wants. He's going to do whatever he wants. And it's like, at some capacity, yeah, right? Like you got to keep mass on. You have a pretty solid amount of muscle. You have to maintain that. But at the same time, like the longevity of you as an athlete, the health of you as an athlete, you can't just pummel all these sugars or processed things all the time, right? Like those are calorically dense things, but you pretty much keep it healthy, right?
Yeah, for sure. And definitely like this diet is only this diet because of how much I train. You know, if I wasn't training this much, I wouldn't be eating like this. So this is not like super sustainable for the long run. This is just something that you got to do what you got to do in the sport. And if you want to be to that top level, you know, you got to be eating a lot. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And how tall are you?
Like 5'10".
Okay. Yeah. And then like for people who are curious, maybe those hard gainers or hard people that it's hard for gaining muscle in general, about how much do you weigh at 5'10" as a CrossFitter?
My weight kind of fluctuates, but I would say on average, I'm probably like 196, 197.
Okay, there we go. And that's a pretty good amount of mass, right? And that's where we can, you know, get you into those elite levels, pushing that weight at that higher level while still staying like limber and with your gymnastics and moving quickly and not feeling like you're super weighted down on the bar, right?
Yeah, one of my goals actually though for this next season is to get above 200 though, just to see if I can get a little bit bigger.
Stacked Leo at 205? What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like last year it was more, but even this year, just being at semis, I feel like I'm one of like the smaller athletes out there, just in terms of like size. Like I look at Fakowski next to me, I look at like Sam Kwan, I look at like people next to me, I'm like, damn, I'm like smaller, you know, like these guys are huge. So one of my goals is just to put on a little bit of muscle.
Do you feel like it's hard at 5'10" to be an elite athlete? Do you feel like there's kind of like a sweet spot? Do you feel like there's limitations that maybe you've run into with your training or competing at that level?
Not really, honestly. I feel like I'm pretty blessed because I think 5'8" to like 5'10" is like the perfect height for CrossFit. At least now, you know, with the programming and stuff, that might change to accommodate smaller athletes. But if you look at like all the champions in the past, like Froning, you know, 5'9", 5'10". Matt was a little bit shorter, but even Medeiros, he's around my height, you know, 5'9". So I think this is a pretty good height for CrossFit.
Totally. So if you're 5'10", don't compete. No, I'm just kidding. Do you have a favorite athlete or anyone you kind of look up to in the space or that you used as inspiration in the last few years? And how do you feel like that has changed now being someone who is on the floor potentially with some of those mentors or idols that maybe you looked up to in the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. You know, when I first got into the sport, obviously Rich Froning. But now really, I don't really have idols anymore. Now that I'm a competitor myself, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm better than these guys. So But for sure, getting into it, it was like the Rich Fronings, Matt Frazier, all those top guys. But as I've got better myself, and as I started competing myself, I kind of started focusing less on like how they were doing workouts, because when I first got into it, I would like watch Rich Froning do workouts, and I would kind of try to mimic how he moved and stuff. And as I got better myself, I kind of like got into my own lane and kind of found my own way of doing things. So I kind of like transitioned away from trying to mimic other people to kind of finding my own groove.
Totally. And like playing to your strengths while developing your weaknesses, right?
Yes. Yeah.
As an athlete, what do you feel like are kind of your strong suits, and what do you feel like are some of the things that within your training call you to really put yourself to the test or require more of your time with accessories or extra programming?
So gymnastics has always came pretty easy to me. Chest bars, ring muscle ups, pull-ups, toes bar, all that kind of stuff is pretty I could like do big sets and recover pretty fast on, which is why I think I could gain a little bit of weight and still be pretty good, because even like as I gained weight throughout my CrossFit years, my gymnastics only got better. So I feel like I can maybe put on a little bit more weight and still be pretty good at gymnastics. Weightlifting also, you know, being coached by Elijah, one of the best CrossFit weight athletes. He taught me everything I know how to move a barbell. So I'm pretty good at clean and jerk, snatch, and my weaknesses for sure, rowing and running. I gotta
Sounds
kill
like
myself.
you really like those.
Yeah, it just sucks because like you gotta kill yourself on those intervals, you know, like rowing, you're never gonna like fail. Like, you know, you can always go harder. You can always pull on that handle harder. So in running, you can always like, unless you literally like your heart stops beating, like you can just keep going, you know? So it's definitely like when I'm doing those kind of intervals, like rowing intervals or running intervals, I'm just telling myself like, you gotta keep pushing. You know, you gotta find where your limit is at. At the next training session, try to go a little bit more. Next training session, try to go a little bit more.
You feel like it's more mental or physical struggle with those endurance components? Like you sitting there beating yourself up and being like, man, you suck ass, or is it kind of like just one of those things where physically you just have to push yourself and turn the mind off?
At first, it was for sure mental, just because, you know, I'm not a good rower. I'm not a good runner. So when my coach would give me like paces to hold, I would just get in my head, you know, just, oh, can I hold this pace? Is this going to be too hard for me? Can I even do this? Versus now it's more physical, because now I am able, like mentally, I know I can do this, but now physically, like, can I withstand that pain of holding like a 140 for, you know, a 3K on the row? So now it's definitely more physical, versus at first when you first start drilling your weaknesses, it's like kind of scary, you know, because you're doing shit that you're bad at. So
totally. Has anyone ever told you not to wear earrings on the competition floor?
No. But actually in Madrid on one of the workouts, we were doing toes bar and my earring got caught on my shirt.
No.
Like a couple of the reps,
No.
but I was able to kind of like take it off. So I got kind of lucky.
Oh gosh. That's intense. Have you always kind of worn earrings? Did you ever have to take them up during soccer, like take them out?
No, I actually just got these about a year ago. I never had earrings growing up.
No.
And one of my best friends actually was like, dude, you would look pretty good with earrings. And I was like, I don't know, man. And then it was around that time that I dyed my hair gray. I've done it twice now. I've done it this year for semis, but I did it last year also when I went to Madrid. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go all in with my look. So I dyed my hair gray. I got earrings. And then ever since then, it's kind of just been like my thing now. So I like it.
That's fair. Yeah, I see your social media and I'm like, I need to step up my style game. This is embarrassing.
That's something Elijah taught me also. Like, you got to be stylish, you know? You got to have cool socks. You got to have cool socks. You got to have cool shorts. You know, you got to look good. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Look good, feel good. Like, that's for sure. Like, for sure. Look good, feel good.
Do you feel like that's something that kind of plays into your confidence as an athlete? You know what I mean? Like, that sounds kind of silly or like maybe superfluous to some people, but you know, there's you're not perfect, right? Like you might be an elite athlete, but at the same time, like you still have human emotions and kind of the same things that someone goes through or experiences as a beginning athlete, right? And so confidence is a really big piece of that, and the courage to overcome the fear that you talked about earlier or the doubt. What are some of the ways that you do that? Is that kind of with, sometimes you just put on a great outfit and show up and do it? What other things like help you be that confident athlete?
Yeah, for sure. Just finding whatever works for you and finding that look that fits you. When you step onto the competition floor, you have eyes on you. So if you're wearing something that maybe a sponsor gave you that you weren't really like wanting to wear, and then now you got to wear super, super short shorts and you don't wear super short shorts, like you're going to be super uncomfortable on that comp floor, So it's just finding things that work for you, finding gear that you're comfortable in, and just finding your look. Like wearing whatever grips you want to, not because that's what's popular, like Bear Complex or Victory grips. Maybe for you, something else works, So definitely everyone tries to follow like a pack and everyone tries to do whatever is trending and do whatever is cool. But if that doesn't work for you, then you're never going to be confident in yourself. So.
Totally. And I think you're 24, like other 24-year-olds, it's like, especially with social media or younger athletes, even or old, I mean, anyone on social media, really, there's this easy comparison game, like you're saying, and kind of like, oh, it's trendy. Oh, it's this, but I put it on and it feels like shit. Like, why do you do that to yourself? You know what I mean? Like, why do you take supplements that, yeah, like make you want to throw up? Like, you shouldn't want to throw up during training. Like, it's easy to kind of get in this comparison game, and I think for a long time it was like keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like as you get old and your picket fence life or whatever. But in social media, it's like apparel, I mean, shoot, even earrings, hats, the way you look, the way you do your makeup, the way you do your eyebrows and all that dumb shit takes away from a lot of the integrity of an athlete, because when you get on the competition floor, when you're training, when you're in your gym by yourself chasing your goals, none of that matters, right? Like it might help with your confidence. You might feel like super fly and ready to go because you have this awesome outfit on, whatever. But at the end of the day, like it's kind of the fibers of what you're made of and your values as an athlete, right?
Yeah, and it's just keeping true to yourself. Like I'm the same way when I'm at home or when I'm coaching or when I go out, that I am on the gym. Like I'm wearing the same things, I'm wearing my same outfits, I'm looking the same. And some people kind of change that, some people get to the gym and they see everyone wearing these like super colorful shorts and they try to fit in, and then they go back home and they look totally different. So it's just staying true to who you are and just trying to find that niche that, like, I even have some people at my gym that are like wearing these grips that everyone told them to wear. And I'm like, do those work for you? And they're like, not really. I'm like, why are you wearing them? Like if those grips don't work for you and they don't feel good on the bar, like why are you even wearing them? And just because someone told you, oh, these are the best grips, like you got to just trial and error, try these grips. If they don't work, try another ones. If they don't work, try another ones, versus just, oh, these are the best, I got to wear these,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why we work with you as an athlete, and why we really genuinely enjoy supporting you is because you lead from the front, right? You're not here for show. You're not here because it's cool. Like you're here because you truly love the aspect of bettering yourself in CrossFit, being an inspiration to others that people can look to and say like, gosh, like Leo, he's got it. What do I got to do to be like Leo? And it's not about how drippy can you get, because Leo's drippy is, what, but it's kind of like, well, what is he doing that I am not, right? Which kind of brings me to my next question. What are you doing, or what do you feel like you do within your training or within your approach to training as an athlete that you feel like people are not even willing to do tomorrow? What are you doing today for your future self? And what are you doing that other people are not willing to do?
So the top thing for sure is I'm putting myself in uncomfortable situations. Yeah. So, I'm talking to my coach. I'm analyzing data that I can get from competitions, and I'm seeing what my best place finishes are, and I'm seeing what my worst place finishes are. And that just happens to be rowing and running. So, He sets me up intervals to do, and it's stuff that I really don't want to do. I'm not a good rower. I don't like rowing, but I'm on that thing 4 to 5 times a week. I'm hammering it, and I'm getting uncomfortable, and I'm finding out who I am throughout that process. I'm hammering my weaknesses. I'm doing things that I maybe don't want to do in the moment, but when I finish, I'm proud of myself. And I think that keeps me coming back for more, because if I didn't love doing it at the end of the day, I wouldn't be here. Absolutely. And so I think just doing things that are going to make you proud, and sure, lifting weights I'm good at, and I love PRing, but that stuff doesn't really make me proud anymore because I know I'm good at that. It's, killing a running session that maybe to someone else is average, but to me is like, man, I just killed that, so just making myself proud.
Yeah. And having intention with your training, right? And that's the difference between training and exercising. That's the difference between just hopping in a class. And even if you're not trying to be like a games athlete, you can still go into a workout session or an exercise session with intentionality and say, like, what do I want to get out of this? Right. And that's a really good life skill to have, I think, in general. Like, you're going on a trip with your best bros. Like, what are you going to get out of it? What do you want? Rather than just kind of like this reactive approach to life. Like, yeah, whatever happens to me happens and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of that difference in mentality and also looking at, it's not failure, right? It's not a failure that you didn't hit your 143K, right? Like, it's not a failure. It's an opportunity to see yourself in a way that you can improve so that you can get ahead. Right. And that having that growth mindset. Do you feel like there's been times in your life personally that have shaped your mindset or your ability to look at adversity and say, like, I'm going to hit you back. I'm going to approach this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be uncomfortable. What do you feel like are some of the things that, whether they were setbacks or trials or traumas, that have shaped you into the man that you are?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, like, I wouldn't be here doing, as good as I'm doing if it wasn't for all the like shit that I went through leading up trying to get here. Like, I feel like in my early stages of CrossFit, it was just like failure after failure after failure. I would try to qualify for competitions and I just wasn't good enough, and that happened for like 3 years. I was trying to 2018, I was trying to make regionals, nowhere near good enough. 2019, I was trying to make a sanctional, wasn't good enough. 2020 wasn't good enough. And it wasn't until 2020, 2021 season that, I won Fittest Man in Nevada. I qualified for semis. I started getting my name out there. So I feel like you got to go through all that bad stuff to kind of come out on the other end. So I feel like even though in the moment it may seem like, man, is this even worth it? Like, am I ever even going to make semifinals? Versus now, like, man, I have a chance of going to the games, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't go through all that adversity back in the day. So I feel like for me, whenever I am going through stuff that, whether that's pain, just anything that's I think is a setback, I know, like, okay, this is going to lead me to something great.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you training full time right now, or are you working?
No, part-time. I mean, kind of full-time, but I do have a coaching job, two coaching jobs that I kind of go back and forth from. Nice. So, but that does allow me to kind of train full-time, but I'm not like fully in it yet.
Where do you coach at?
I coach at my CrossFit gym, and then I coach at this place called Tread Vegas, which is kind of like a Orange Theory-esque type workout. But it's awesome. I love coaching there.
That's awesome. So if anyone's in Vegas, come do a drop-in with you.
Yes, we're on the Strip, so it's amazing.
Oh, Leo on the Strip. Watch out.
Yeah, it's fun.
Do you have much time being an athlete? I mean, as far as I think you're single, right? Like, do you have time for dating? What does that kind of look like as a, what we would call a full-time training athlete working? You're fidgeting. Are you getting nervous?
No. Honestly, I do have time. I don't have energy.
Yeah.
Like, it's super hard after a training day, whether it went good or whether it went bad. Like, you got to come home. I got to do all my stretching. I got to do my sauna sesh. I gotta eat, and after all that, it's kind of like, man, I don't want to do anything else. Like, I want to just literally lay on the couch and not move.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's tough. Especially living in Vegas, like the dating life out here is not that good. Everyone's kind of just running around, so.
You think it's kind of a place where everyone's like into themselves, doing their own thing, or is it?
Yeah. Vegas is this kind of place where everyone thinks they're someone who they're not, so I feel like everyone's not fake out here, but I feel like definitely this is not a place where if I want to date, I should be doing it out here.
For sure. And those are some of those, huh?
But who knows, there's a lot of people moving here, so maybe that'll change, but.
Yeah. And it's hard, right? Like geographically, there's challenges as an athlete, there's challenges as a person, how you spend your time, what you spend your time on, right? It's always a choice, and there's sacrifices that have to be made. Like, not saying dating is like some crazy sacrifice, but at times it is, right? And those are pieces of seeing the bigger picture for yourself, and having those bigger goals and really prioritizing your own happiness and what you want to do with yourself, right? What are some of the other things you feel like for someone who's looking to be maybe a more full-time athlete or pursue that higher level of competition? What are some other sacrifices you feel like kind of play into that?
It's your whole life. It's 24/7. So unless like you have something else that you have in mind in the back of your mind that maybe you could be doing, like for me, this is like 100%. This is what I want to do. There's like no doubt in my mind that I could be doing something else or that I want to be doing something else. Mm-hmm. So if you do have that, maybe even like 0.1% doubt in your mind, like it's not going to work. You got to be fully invested into this, and it's going to take over your whole life pretty much for the however many years you're going to be doing it.
Yeah. And those types of things are, the mentalities or the thoughts that you have to get your shit together before you head in the gym, right? Because those are going to be the things that keep you back. Those are going to be the things when you're weak and CrossFit is exposing every weakness you have. Those are the things that are going to come through, right? And like at times for a lot of people, it can be a pretty emotional experience where you're like, I've got my shit together. I'm doing this. I've committed to that. And then all of a sudden you get a workout and you're crying and you're just like, what the fuck? I mean, I think everyone can kind of relate to that. Hopefully it doesn't happen very often, right? But you can't hide from pain in CrossFit. You can't hide from weakness. It's going to expose it. And whether you're in there by yourself or you're in there training with your crew, like, you can only go as far as your mind will let you, and emotionally, like you're going to let yourself. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I would say more often than not, a workout goes poorly versus how I expected it to go. So most of the time I'm in the gym just getting my ass kicked.
Yeah. Well, and that's something we don't see on social either, right? Whether it's like the sacrifice of, oh, they're a bodybuilder, oh, they're a CrossFitter, oh, they're this, and they have it together. And it must be so nice because they just fit to be an athlete all the time and just work out. And it's like, nope, that's actually not how it is. It can be further from the truth. You know what I mean? It's not vanity. It's not glory. It's not glamorous. You're getting your ass handed to you all the time by your own self, let alone other people, let alone, the work and the time and the effort. And like you're saying, being able to go home and like, you don't necessarily have a life. Like if you do, it's few and far between. You're selective with your time. I mean, yeah, someone might have hopped on your social media and be like, oh, he's out clubbing in Madrid. Like, oh, well, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's that 1% of your time that you get to like.
I wasn't even drinking. That was pineapple juice,
12 pineapples later.
Like, and that was only because like I was in Madrid, I was like, when am I ever going to be back here? Like I do plan on going back next year, but I was like, I'm not going to be here anytime soon. So I might as well just go out. And also it was like all CrossFitters at that party too. So it was like, I was in my environment. So man, every time I go out, I'm just like, I don't want to be here, So every time I go to a party or anytime I go out with my friends, there's not been one time where I'm like, oh, I want to do this again. Every single time I'm like, why am I here? I could just be at home doing something else, I'm a homebody, so I like being home. I like just watching Netflix or watching YouTube and trying to I'm in the gym thinking all day. I'm thinking about what weights I want to do for this workout. I'm thinking about my splits. I'm thinking about what I'm going to be eating later. So when I get home, I want to do the opposite. I want to just put on something and turn my mind off.
Yeah. Do you kind of have like a mindset or a quote or, I mean, obviously we see stay humble in the background. I think that's pretty evident with you. You're a pretty humble guy, but at the same time, like, is there something that you kind of live by or train by that gets you kind of to your core?
I don't really have too many like quotes that I live by. I do find a lot of like motivation in like sayings and stuff, and I do have like bracelets that say like pain is temporary and like grind season, stuff like that.
Let's go.
So that kind of stuff like motivates me. You know, my screensaver on my phone says the day. I don't know if you can see it, but it says the day you don't want to is the day you need to. So I don't really have like one specific quote. I kind of just find inspiration, motivation in a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like the way that you align yourself with brands, like our motto, right? Mentality is all about, tell me what mentality is about. Tell me why you associate with them.
Man, I love them. Like ever since I started working with them, I feel like I've elevated to a new level. Like, first of all, one of the owners is like 22 and he's a millionaire. So that's already right there, like super motivational.
Like, something I don't know. I want to learn.
Yeah. And he's a good guy too. So he's a good friend of mine. They're based out of Vegas. So I get to like go to their warehouse and I get to see how everything is done. I get to see how everything is made. And man, they're just like, they're like no bullshit type of guys. There's people that'll tell you exactly to your face that like, hey, you're just not good enough. Like when I first wanted to be working with them, it was when I hadn't qualified for anything yet. And they told me straight up, like, you're a nobody, like, why would we want to work with you? Like straight up. Like, and then once I started growing my social media a little bit, once I started getting out there in the CrossFit, they were like, oh, okay, maybe this guy is going to be someone, so yeah, like everything I wear is mentality. Like I said, these bracelets, my screensaver, everything is, even my room, I have posters up of mentality. So for me, it's just a lifestyle,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about your supplement routine. Leo, you have been with us for a couple of years, which has been amazing. Watched you grow through a lot of different things. How do you feel like your supplement routine plays into your training? And what does that look like on a daily basis for you?
Man, supplements could be like a really big help, especially on the days that you don't feel so good. So it's not like a routine that I do every day because things change every day.
That's
but
good.
Yeah, for the most part, the first supplement of you guys that I'll take during the day is probably going to be the beta before my first session. So I'll take that beta alanine about like 20-30 minutes before my first session. And then after, like I said, I do a carb shake. So I'll do you guys' carbs. And then for my second session, this is kind of like the one that's sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's you guys' pre. If I feel like I need it, I'll take some of your guys' pre. If I feel like I'm feeling pretty good, then I kind of will just skip over that. Do my second session, and then after I'll have you guys' protein. Like I said, I'll put that in my oatmeal, which tastes amazing. It's one of my favorite meals during the day. And then at night, I'll take some of you guys' ashwagandha gummies and apple cider vinegar gummies. Mm-hmm. And then to knock out, I'll take some ZMT, which has been a game changer. Yeah, I took that. I had that powder of ZMT in my bag when I flew to Madrid, mm-hmm. and as soon as I got on my flight, I put it in some water, and it knocked me out. So I did that on the way there and on the way back, and it just knocked me out for 9 hours straight. I get the best sleep when I take that stuff. It's like crazy.
That's rad. That's really good. Do you mix it with water? Or do you mix it with like something else? Do you throw it in a protein shake? Like,
no, I just mix it with water.
And do you shoot it like a shot?
Yeah, I just like mix it with water, find like a spoon or something, mix it up, and just down it.
Yeah. Do you feel like being able to optimize your sleep and kind of like hack your sleep in that way helped with jet lag so that you could just be in a routine?
Big time. yeah, I feel like I kind of like cheated. Like,
Yeah.
so on the way there, yeah, I took it. Like I said, I got lucky that my flight landed in the morning in Madrid. So I
Mhm.
was like, okay, I can sleep on the plane right there. I'll take some ZMT. It'll knock me out because obviously I wasn't sleepy. I left Vegas at 9 a.m. and I got to Madrid 9 a.m. Madrid time. So I was like leaving at 9 a.m. I just woke up, like obviously I'm not going to be tired, but
Yeah.
I just took some of that ZMT and knocked me out. I got to Madrid 9 a.m. and I was able to kind of stay up throughout that day, went to sleep at night, and my sleep schedule was pretty good for Madrid. And then on the way back, it was kind of the opposite, where I got to Vegas kind of like midday. So I had to stay up a little bit during the flight just to make sure when I got to Vegas, I didn't come home and knock out right away. So
Mhm.
I took some ZMT on the flight back from Madrid to Dallas, which knocked me out. And then I stayed up for my flight from Dallas to Vegas.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
that's right. Yeah, that's actually cool. And it's, some of that forethought, right? Being that higher level athlete, you gotta pay attention to little things like that. And on like the supplement side of things, one of the cool parts about a lot of those ingredients is they help with resetting or setting your natural circadian rhythm, even with time change, right? So
Yeah.
on the more sciencey side of things, that's kind of how that works. But definitely glad to hear that that helps you. As far as some product launches, I mean, we have the intro and the post that's going to be coming out. I'm not sure if you've seen those a little bit,
Yeah,
but
I'm excited for that.
yeah, we're super excited. On the intro, we're going to have Cherry Frost, and then we're also going to have a Tropical Blast. So kind of similar to like the Tropical Mountain Dew from Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that similar feeling or
Oh,
that
yeah.
similar taste. Got some EAs in there. Post workout is going to be really nice addition. So we'll definitely get you some of those as we get a little bit closer. But I think the biggest thing that you said is that you base it off of how you feel and knowing what your training does and doesn't need. Right. And a lot of times people come at supplements and they're like, oh, I need all this stuff. And it's a do this and just shove it down. And who knows what happens, right? Throw it down the hatch. And supplements are such like an individual routine that it's really what works for you and your body and learning that and then doing that consistently. Right. So kind of an overlooked piece there. But let's talk about what does the 2023 season look like for you, Leo? How are you gonna get into that top 10? I mean, your progress, if anyone was gonna look at the last 2 years, I'll say it again. I said it in the beginning. When you were at West Coast Classic, you're in that top 30. When you're in Granite Games, you're in that top 10. I mean, the games are knocking at your door. And so how are you going to approach that for this coming year?
I'm excited. I'm excited. At first, it was just more about after West Coast, it was more about putting myself in that kind of situation where I'm nervous and I'm scared to go out on the comp floor, being against all these super elite athletes. So after West Coast, I just went like on a run and I did a bunch of competitions. I did Madrid. I did the Fittest experience. I did Can West. I just did Granite Games and I did Madrid again. So in that time from West Coast, within a year, I've done 5 major like competitions. And I feel like now I kind of know myself and I'm obviously not nervous anymore to go out on the comp floor. So I'm able to kind of like set myself up for success in this next coming year. So for sure, still trying to compete as much as possible because I feel like it helps big time knowing like I've been here before. I know exactly how I'm going to feel. And I think probably I'll try to do Dubai and Wadapalooza before the Open. And that'll probably be the only 2 comps I'll do before semis next year. Like I said, I've done 5 in the last year. So I've done one like every like 2.5 months, 3 months. So I've done a lot of competing and it's been good because I've been able to kind of like find who I am as an athlete and kind of like shake off some of those nerves that I had when I first got into competing at the high level. So for sure, Dubai coming up, like you said, the Wadapalooza qualifiers, I'll probably do the first one today, hoping to qualify for Wadapalooza, which is kind of like the beginning of next season because it starts in January. So that'll kind of be like 2023. and then the Open quarterfinals, and then coming up to semis. I think there's no doubt in my mind that next year I can qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. It's going to be super exciting. It already is super exciting to watch you as an athlete and to develop into really, making your name a household name. I think that you have a lot of qualities and a unique story that people can really look at and be inspired and be mentored by, right? So everyone make sure you go and follow Leo on Instagram. His handle's right there in the video. Give him a shout, lend him some encouragement, check out what he's all about, follow along. Yeah. And we're excited for it. So, Leo, thank you so much for hopping on today. Really appreciate you. It's good to chat it up. We look forward to seeing your earring game also continue to improve.
Always. I just put these in too. I had different ones from Madrid.
Oh, we're so special. We get new earrings today.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to change it up a little bit.
We like it. We're here for it. All
yeah,
right,
I think,
go ahead.
I told myself I was going to do gray hair again for semis,
Mm-hmm.
but I think now I changed it. I think now I'm going to do gray hair when I qualify for the games.
Let's go.
I think.
Let's go.
I'm not sure. But I do kind of want to make that like my staple, like the gray hair. Leo,
yeah.
So.
It definitely looks good. So we're here, team gray hair. We'll give you that.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Leo. You have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you for chiming in and hanging here with Leo and I on the Swole Friends Podcast. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. We are also available on Apple Podcasting as well as Spotify. So give us a subscribe. Stay tuned. And Leo, we will catch you at the games in 2023.
Woo! Let's go.
All right. Have a good rest of the day, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.